All right, people, here we go. Welcome in. It is that time. I cannot believe it. It is Thursday already, January the 30th. It is time for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show. It is powered by WagerTalk.com and the esteemed panel, guys. We went out of our way to pull these guys in from from halfway around the world, and it does not get any better than the esteemed colleagues here of Mr. Rob Vino of SportsMemo.com joins us here again. Tony Finn, somebody dug him up, dusted him off. He is here, and I love the way the backdrop there, Tony, the way it is perfectly folded in one corner, and it's wonderful, really well done there. And, of course, Ski, always a pleasure to see you, my friend, at Ski Profit, WagerTalk.com.
It's kind of windy out here today.
It really looks like you slept in it. I'm just going to say. So, hey guys, welcome those of you in the chat room and joining us here. Quick recap of yesterday's show and what we did. And guys, it was. We certainly had our moments yesterday, despite Ski giving us Houston. In the end there, kind of screwing us all there. But Tony Finn also don't try and mix it up now, Tony. Do not, absolutely not. No, we don't want you looking all kept now because we know better. But Houston, what can we say there, Ski? It was, shall we say, just it was a nightmare for Houston. It's so hard to tell what you're going to get there, and I don't think we took into consideration, although we nailed the Damian Lillard over 3.5 threes prop there as he was on fire yesterday. We didn't take into consideration the hatred he has for Russell Westbrook and forgot he's with the Houston Rockets now, man.
Yeah, well, Houston is definitely on that hell no list. They're going to keep Houston away from me, and I kind of thought about it the other way. I thought that Houston would get revenge, so I thought about it. I'm not going to lie, but Lillard just continues to be much greater than Westbrook. So
yeah, it really does, and it's kind of crazy there, guys. When you think about it, Lillard, they come out firing yesterday to take down Houston. Another game that was very strange, although Tony nailed it. Congratulations, Tony, gave you over in the San Antonio game there against Utah. Now Utah just shit themselves. They are slowly but surely now becoming the hell no list. It's been a rough stretch, Tony, but they certainly scored enough points to hit the over. That was kudos to you for calling it.
Yeah, and like I said before we went on the air, there's a correlation there. If Utah is scoring 127 points, they're supposed to be winning by 27 points.
Yes, as we try and get the YouTube
under 20
away here. So yeah, hold on one second. We're going to try to go ahead and get that done. Let me see. Still not working there for some reason. So you know what we're going to do here, guys? Watch this. We are going to go ahead and bear with us, those of you joining on Facebook and the YouTube Sports Memo. Appreciate you guys. Twitch and Periscope Twitter. You guys just chill for 1 second and make fun of Tony as I go ahead and try to perform surgery here. And this is why they pay me the big bucks, guys, because while we go ahead and bullshit about last night's game, let's get a recap from Rob, because, Rob, you weren't on the show. Talk to us about how it went last night for you, my friend.
Yeah, it was good early, Joe. Had the Detroit-Brooklyn game up and over the total. Again, since Kyrie's come back, when he's in that lineup, they're a pretty good overplay. Mm-hmm. More offense, less defense. Brooklyn, obviously, one of those teams that hadn't had a home game since the tragic helicopter crash Sunday, so that was a emotional setting for sure, and the audience or the fans were well into that game, and after a kind of a slow start to that one, they really took off scoring wise, so that was an easy one. Had a couple of colleges mixed in that one, and then capped it off last night with OKC over 220.5, and it fell 220, so put me at a 3-in-1 night. We'll take it, but would have rather had OKC make a free throw or Sacramento make one more free throw.
Yes, and look at that, guys. Just like that, we're back on YouTube. I mean, that's why they pay me the big bucks. So profitable night across the board here for all the guys. And Ski, you will confirm that we are, in fact, now on YouTube on Wager Talk. Is that correct?
Good money.
All right, we are money, guys, and that's why they keep me around here. And really, I'm the only one who can truly understand Tony Finn. Let's start here, guys, with a couple of plays on the board tonight. Yeah, which is scary in itself. But let's start with a couple of plays here on the board tonight. We'll start at the top. And again, I don't know what to make of this team, heads nor tails. But Toronto Raptors will be on the road to the Cleveland Cavaliers, a notorious hell-no ski list team where we just refuse to be a part of it. But they are at home. They did win their last game, if I'm not mistaken, for us here, guys. They did actually cover a game, and they are now going to be getting 10 points here in this matchup against Toronto. 220.5 is what it opened up with, Ski. It's 221.5, 222 now. So I know they've been hell no in the past, but might Cleveland get a little love, maybe total side, or just basically blow it up and go Toronto?
Well, I understand that move on the total. I know Toronto wants to play a little bit faster, and Cleveland's been going over the total as well. They went over 8 of their last 9 at the house, over 5 of the last 6 in general, and Toronto's been going over as well. So it'll be an over game. And as far as the side, I mean, it does seem like a lot of points, especially on the road, but I'm just not in the mood to back Cleveland. They've only covered 1 of their last 5 games. Toronto's been rolling 6-2 last 8, so it'll be Toronto or the over for me.
Toronto or the over, Tony Finn? Talk to me, man. Is it just a matter of, you know what, I can't back Cleveland?
Well, it's a matter of, you guys are right. It's tough to know what Coach B is going to do. If he said, I'm going to shorten my bench, he does it for 4 games, then all of a sudden they get to the end of the road trip, and then they're playing 10 guys double-digit minutes. Yep. Now, I do like the fact that I think sometime, I don't know what day it was, earlier this week or maybe the end of last week.
Oh, there's a shot.
We had Cleveland over, and I like Cleveland over, and they are going to the over. Tonight, this is Toronto's game. Toronto's rested. They're fresh. They're rested. They're inspired. They are motivated, and we talked about this off air before the show that for the next week, I think everyone should be cautious. Should be cautious of teams that had a close relationship with Kobe. There's just that fog that's hanging over, and it's going to hang over for a while. And with Cleveland, there's always a fog. Yeah. You don't know what they're going to do. I like Toronto tonight. I really do. I hate to lead double digits in this game, in this situation, in this venue, but I would if I had to.
It's it's so true too. I mean, Rob, it's kind of. It just seems ever since Sunday, and we knew the variance was going to get out of control here this week. I mean, there's just some things you can't account for when trying to look at these games. You get the inspired performances, the lack of performances from some guys. It just adds another layer of, variance to trying to figure it all out when it's all said and done.
Like it's not tough enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it really does, Joe. And like we were saying off air, Brooklyn was one of those teams that hadn't had a home game since Sunday. So, as it dwindles down, probably by next week, and maybe it's a good thing that the All-Star game is coming pretty soon, because I think it's only about 7 days away or 7 games away, whatever. But let me back up what both Ski and Tony said here, because there's reasons, numbers-wise, there's reasons to play Toronto. There's reasons to play this game up and over the total. They played twice already this season. Toronto wins by 20 each time. Yeah. No problem in either game. One of those was when Toronto was terribly injured. Had no Marc Gasol, had no Norman Powell, had no Siakam, and they still found a way to win by 20. Then, if you want to look at total, as Ski pointed out, the Cavaliers have been an over machine as of late. 12-3 over the total, their last 15. They help out. It's not just their defense that's ridiculously bad, but the offense has helped out a little bit, scoring 106 or more in 11 of those 15. So you combine that with the defense that's been terrible, and that's why you're getting all these overs. The Toronto team has played excessively high-scoring games in 5 of their last 6. 244, 230, 239, 234, 251, and 251. That's actually 6 games there out of the last 7 or 8. So
they're averaging 125 a game, I think.
Yeah,
they've been on fire. We know they like transition. I don't know that Cleveland can stop their transition. Let's add this to the mix, because Tony talked about Toronto being well rested. Cleveland is not. For Cleveland, this is their 5th game in the last 8 days, 3rd in 4 nights. Maybe that's why the bench had to be stretched out to 10 guys in anticipation of this, string of games. And maybe Beeline's trying to keep some guys a little bit fresh, spreading out minutes. But still, it's a lot for Cleveland. I'm happy to report that there is no load management for Darius Garland tonight. He's back in the lineup. So I really would look over in this game, guys. I think that's the better play. But I like them both. I think Toronto, has shown that they just handle this team without much resistance at all.
Yes, we had our own load management yesterday where the doc just seemed to get up out of the show out of nowhere and walk off set. But that's We won't go into that, exactly.
That's a different load. You have to change
different
that
load
load.
management going on. Big shout out, by the way, to the chat room here. A couple of guys we want to recognize. Caleb, by the way, welcome in here. He nailed the over 220.5 there, Tony. So thank you very much once again for the San Antonio Spurs. Underrated World joining us. Welcome to see Jonathan. Jonathan, first time off from work, so I can catch you guys live. I am so sorry about that, Jonathan. Wish that there was something else going on for you. You didn't have to be bothered with us. Brad Ski in the house, Repo in the Ski. Look at Brandley in the house. We're going to get to your parlay there last night there, Brandley, along with your Detroit Pistons here in a few minutes. But we're going to move on to game number 2 here, guys, where let me just say this. Over. Wizards Hornets over. Let's clarify it there as the Washington Wizards at home, 3.5 points. It's been pushed to 4. I'm seeing 227.5, and honestly, guys, I'm laughing because it's still 227.5 from this morning, first thing this morning. So not a lot of movement in a total in a game where, and I know the hesitation because listen, you got to. We know Washington can give up 150 points to better teams. We know they can score 130, but do you feel confident enough, Charlotte, to score 100? Tony, I'll start with you here. Is it? Are you looking at the total in this one, or are you confident?
No, I did look at the total in this, and I didn't release it, but I looked at it, and I would agree with your first word, over. That's what I would agree with. I've yet to see a team that I would classify or put Charlotte into that category of being a middling team, a less than team, be able to dictate tempo with Atlanta. And if you can't dictate tempo, then you better not be on the under. I mean, you can be on the under and you can win, but I'm going to say your probabilities is not good enough for me to invest in. So I do like the over, though. I agree with you.
The over, too. OG in the house, man. Pleasure to see you, my friend. Shedrick and Trent, congratulations, guys. You are stealing corporate time, and we love you for that. And also, our very own load management guy popped in there, and so he's calling right from the unemployment line. That would be our Doc is in the chat room here. So, Ski, talk to me. Why don't you go ahead, give Doc your thoughts on this play here. I don't know, man. I want to back Washington here. I really do. I wouldn't mind laying the short number, 3.5, 4 points, but the total just keeps yelling at me, no?
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, I want to back Washington too, but I just don't love the idea of laying points with Washington. They've been covering numbers, but, I mean, Charlotte's defense has been better than Washington. We know Washington doesn't play any defense at all. Charlotte's defense is last in the league last 5 games, but Charlotte rebounds the ball a little bit better than Washington, so it's tough for me to get there laying the points. But I do like the over. Washington plays at the 4th fastest pace in the league over their last 5. Charlotte plays at the slowest, but as Tony said, I don't think they'll be able to dictate the pace. And if they're going to score against anybody, it would be against this Wizards defense. So the only way I could look at this game is over.
Talk to me here, Rob Vino at sportsmemo.com. You usually you're good for a definite clarity here on the over-under. Where are you looking at this one?
Yeah, I would look over, Joe. I mean, they played twice. You get 243, which is well over the 227 we're looking at tonight. The other game, you get 221. You get 221 because the Washington starters in that game go 1 for 16 from three-point range. Probably not going to happen again tonight. Bradley Beal, as part of that starting unit, goes 0 for 7. Probably not going to happen tonight. And they still only fell 6 points short of this number. To your point about the resistance being Charlotte so miserable on offense, they have been. 97 points or less in 5 of their last 7 games. But the perfect elixir for anything is this Washington defense. They remind me a lot now, Joe. They're starting to remind me a lot of one of my favorite college basketball teams years ago, 1990, when Paul Westhead had Loyola Marymount. And what they would do is they would allow you to score so they could pull it out of the basket and get down and score 3 points even faster.
Yep.
So, and, it's kind of like the way Washington's playing right now. I think Charlotte can get caught up in that. Tony and Ski have already said they don't believe that Charlotte can dictate pace here. I don't either. I'll tell you what really, and if you guys can find this number for me, please do. But when you go over their first 2 games, I was looking for a prop bet on Davis Bertans. Davis Bertans, 2 games. Let me just read you these numbers against the Charlotte Hornets. They played on November 22nd. They played on December 10th. First game, he goes 7 of 13 from the floor, 6 of 11 from 3, scores 20 points. Second game, he goes 11 of 18 from the floor. 8 of 12 from three-point land, scores 32 points. Guy scored 52 points in 2 games, shot 58% from the floor, shot 61% from 3. I can't find him in a prop bet. Probably too obscure for anybody to list, but if somebody is listing it, I'm sure Bertans is probably, 9.5 points over under. And you go in there and probably make yourself a little bit of money tonight. So for those watching who know how to bet as well as we do, or even better in some cases, look for Davis Bertans out there. I know you hated Chuck's prop audience a couple days ago, but I think this one might be a little better.
Well, I think we just don't like Chuck. We don't like the doc. I mean, his play is really secondary at that particular point. But if anybody is smart enough to be able to find a Bertans prop, it is the guys that are hanging out in our chat room here. So get to work, guys. Somebody give us a number here so we can lay it out, and then we can all make fun of it as soon as you do. 14.5. Really? My book has Bertans 14.5. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Very good. So 14.5. You like it at 14.5?
Well, he's given us 20 and 32 and just shot incredibly well. So it's something about this Charlotte defense. They weren't missing any players in those games, Joe. So it's obviously Bertans against reserves in most cases. So maybe we get there.
I love it. All right, good idea. Love that challenge. That's why you guys tune in, man, besides just to look at Tony and go like this. But we love him anyway. Don't forget also, guys, WagerTalk.com, not only for Tony and for Ski, but, of course, SportsMemo.com for Rob, and not to mention just any game, every game, free plays, everything available for you guys at both spots. And now we get to the Philadelphia 76ers taking on those Atlanta Hawks here, guys. Sixers on the road, Atlanta. They've already, I believe the Sixers already scored. The game hasn't even started. 228 is the number. Another one of these totals, guys, where it's frozen at 228. It hadn't moved yet here, and I don't understand it outside of maybe we've got an injury or two coming up, but the 76ers are laying 7.5 to open. It's down to 7. Tony, Finn, where are you looking here? It's Atlanta. We know they don't play defense, man, but what do you think about the Sixers in this spot?
I don't have a lot of positive things or positive vibes about this game, nor do I have much to say about this game. This is one of those games. Atlanta's, if you guys and the audience have watched the show every day we had it on, you may have seen me have an opinion on Atlanta maybe once or twice, and in those cases, one time they were a double-digit dog, and the other time it was a total that I thought would fly over the odds makers' number, fly north of that number. And in this game, in this situation, I to be completely honest, I don't trust either team. If I was to have a gun to my head and play something or give out, if somebody else wanted to know my opinion on it, I'm telling you right now, I would probably be on the Atlanta side on this game. And just because of still, I have a problem with Philly. I even have a problem with Philly at home. So I would be on Atlanta.
You know, you're just very negative. I'm just going to say it. I just went out there. You're very negative. It's just a little aggressive towards Philly. I don't know what it is. But Joel Embiid, guys, is active. As is Ben Simmons is listed as probable. He had some sort of vagina issue. I'm sorry, illness going on there. And Al Horford is out, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be right about this, Joe. Let me ask you something. Who are, and we talked about this off air. We talked about so much stuff off air. Why are we ever off air?
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're off air because we would get in trouble.
Yeah, no,
if we were Who are the starting guards for the East?
Trae Young, Tony. Yes.
Not Trae. He's not Trae. He's three letters. He's not. He can't be Trae yet. It's just like GS. They can't be Golden State.
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you not hear me? Oh no, I'm asking a question. Who does do we follow the All-Star game? I don't follow the All-Star game. Could care less about the All-Star game. I know Young is a starter. So, who is not starting at guard? Is it Ben Simmons? Okay, well, go F everybody. I'm done. I can't hear you.
Well, I see Dr. Chuck in the chat box. He's giving Tony all kind of, how he thinks about Philadelphia.
Hey, I'm not going to sleep tonight because of that.
I have to side with Tony in this one. I mean, Philadelphia on the road, they don't even have a winning record. They're 9-15 straight up on the road, and you're expecting them to win by margin. I think the last time they played, they maybe only won by 2. And looking at the Sixers, when they're in the way favorite and they're playing one of these lesser teams, like 45% win team or less, going back to 2018, they're 7-14-1. And looking at Atlanta, when they're at the house, they play good at the house, and when they're playing competition, they step up. So when you combine those, since 2019, about March, they're 14-5-1. So I would play Atlanta plus the 7. They've been a little better offensively, and they can rebound the ball. So I'll take Atlanta at home.
I hear you, Joe. I am on the underdog side here for multiple reasons. I'll put some context to what Ski just noted about Atlanta at home. This month, guys, they're 5-2 against the spread at home, and they have played competition, as Ski was pointing out. They've covered Indiana. They've covered Houston. They've covered Phoenix. We know how good of a road ATS team Phoenix has been this year. They covered Toronto. They covered against the Clippers. Pretty good competition there. And, one of the games they didn't cover against Denver, they lost by 8 points. They're getting 7 here, so that's pretty close. I would add to it something situational. Philadelphia has the Boston Celtics on deck, nationally televised on Saturday. What do you care about more when you have this many injuries? Do you care about going to Atlanta and slaughtering them, or do you care about keeping guys healthy and playing Boston on Saturday? It'll be interesting to see how many minutes Joel Embiid gets here. He got 26 the other night. This matchup, Joe, it reeks of the same type of matchup that Philly had 2 nights ago against Golden State, a team without a center, right? And we talked about it and played over in that game, at least I did, thinking that Embiid would have a big night. Here you got John Collins playing center because of the injuries for Atlanta. They've lost 2 centers here, Alex Len and Bruno Fernando. And he's probably going to have a good night, but they're so short-handed. I think this rotation only goes about 7 deep tonight for Philadelphia. Mike Scott may play, so maybe they get 8 in there. But if you're Atlanta, I think you play at pace. You fatigue Joel Embiid. You get him out of there have him only play about 26 minutes. And
just tell him he has female tendencies. It'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that too, Tony. I mean, that worked in the movie Slapshot too, I think. But it was
Joel Embiid is easy to get on. It's easy to get under his skin. Easy. Yeah.
I don't think they have enough scoring punch here, Joe, to cover 7 points. So for me, for all those reasons, I think Atlanta plus the points is the right side.
It's a 1. I can see it.